and welcome to Bassoon Basics Part 1, Assembling and Disassembling the Instrument. My name is Christopher Garcia, and I am the instructor of bassoon at Amarillo College in Amarillo, Texas. And today I'm just going to give you a brief rundown about how to put the bassoon together, how to take it apart, and how to properly swab your instrument. So, let's get started. The first thing that you're going to want to have your students do when assembling their bassoon is to put their reed in water. It's best just to start off putting your reed and letting it soak for the whole time that you're assembling your instrument. And what you want to do with your bassoon reed is actually soak the entire reed. So what you want to do is have a little cup like so, filled with water about almost to the top, and then you'll drop your reed in like this. After a couple of minutes, you're going to want to flip your reed around and make sure that the bottom part of the reed gets soaked as well. This will prevent any leaking when we put the reed onto the instrument. So while that's soaking, we're going to go ahead and put our instrument together. So let's start with the first thing that we're going to grab out of our case, which is the bottom joint, or known as the boot joint. The boot joint is the very first thing that we're going to grab. As you can see, it's got two holes in the top. This is where the bass joint goes in, and this is where the tenor joint goes in. This side that the tenor joint is lined with rubber. This side of the bass joint is actually exposed wood. That's really important when we get to the swabbing. The next thing that we're going to do is grab our tenor joint, or our wing joint. This is the smallest of the two joints, and as you can see, it has a little bit of a wing shape, which is why we call it the wing joint, but its proper name is the tenor joint. And the tenor joint is going to go in to the small side of the instrument, or the side that is lined with rubber, right? It usually will have a kind of a middle insert. Now, most bassoons are going to have a little notch in the wood or in the metal that will show you exactly where these two parts of the instrument go together. Mine has it. It's just very, very subtle, so I'm not able to show you, but you just want to make sure that you line those two marks up, because that's going to show you exactly where your instrument goes together. Now, if for some reason your student's bassoon doesn't have this, the best thing that you want to do is just insert it and then pay attention to the groove here and how it lines up with the groove of the other side. So it should line up just right, and you should also make sure that your bridge keys line up right as well. And then you know that your horn is in the proper place. Make sure you've got a good grip on the top joint, trying not to grab the keys as much as possible. And then I usually grip the boot joint from here or down at the bottom when inserting the two pieces together. Make sure that my joint is lined up just right. And next thing we're going to do is grab the long joint, or the bass joint. Now, the long joint is very, very straightforward to put in. You'll just slip it in right next to the wing joint. Now, make sure that you tell your students to not put these two joints in together. They sit in the case together, but they don't actually need to be inserted together. That can cause some problems with things lining up. So once you've got that, push all the way down. Now, a lot of student model bassoons are going to have what's called a body lock right here. So this is how the easiest way to know that your long joint is in place is once those two lock together. If your bassoon doesn't have a body lock, the best way to realize if it's in the right spot is you can see here there is this kind of little metal block here, and it's right next to the little wing. And once those two pieces touch together, you're in the right spot. So that's how you know that you've got it correct. And then last but not least, we're going to take the bell out. Bell is the most straightforward. Just put it on and line it up with its bridge key, and we're good to go. We've got the main body of the bassoon put together. Now, we have to talk about the most important part of the instrument, and that is our bocal. The bocal is the most delicate part of the bassoon. It is a very, very thin piece of metal, and it is extremely easy to bend. So when putting the bocal in, it is really important that your students learn how to properly do it. What we don't want is them to grab the bocal like so. Trying to put the bocal into the bassoon like this will make it bend very easily. And once a bocal is bent, it's pretty much ruined. You can get it fixed, but it's never going to be exactly the same. So you always want your students to grab from the strongest part of the bocal, which is the actual curve. You go here, you put in here, and then you can twist it in like so. And for the most part, I actually will put my bassoon on the floor, put the bocal in, and I actually twist the bassoon as to not try to move the bocal so much. Once your bocal is in, make sure that it lines up like so, and you're good to go. Now, next we're going to take a look at our seat strap. Now in our next video, I'm going to talk about proper posture for the bassoon, but just for the sake of this video, just make sure that your seat strap is on the front edge of your chair. We don't want it on the back of the chair, and we'll talk about that in the next video, but seat strap on the front edge of the chair, and then you can attach your bassoon. Now, what you're going to want in a seat strap in particular is we want to try to avoid getting any of the cup seat straps. We really want to get a seat strap that's just a leather seat strap with a hook. These actually work the best, and they won't, the cup seat straps, if you have them, are okay. It's just they have the potential of actually covering up some of the keys and causing some problems. Once you've got that, you're good to go. Take your reed, put it on the instrument, and you're ready to make some sounds. Now, let's say that we've spent a good band rehearsal practicing. Now it's time to disassemble our bassoon. I'm going to do this pretty much in the exact opposite way. I've taken my reed off, I've placed it in my reed case, and it's going to dry out and sit there and be good. Now I'm going to take everything off in reverse. I'm going to start with the bocal, and I'm going to do all of this pretty much still on my seat strap, so I still have a good grip of this. I'm going to take the bocal off, turn it upside down, and blow the spit out from the bottom, and in the case we go with the bocal. Next, we'll take the bell off. The bell does not need to be swabbed. There is no moisture here, so that can go straight in our case. I'm going to take the long joint off. Best to grab up here, give a couple twists. Same thing. The long joint does not need to be swabbed. There's been no moisture in this joint, so you can just put that straight in your case. Now your boot joint and your wing joint are the two joints that do actually need to be swabbed, and we're actually going to start swabbing with the boot joint first. So you can take the wing joint out, place it in your case for safety, and then we're going to grab the swab. Now, at the beginning of the video, I told you that this side of the instrument is just exposed wood, and this side is lined with rubber. So what we want to do is take our swab, and I actually like these ones, simple silk swab with just a chain, and we're going to drop that into the wooden side of the instrument, or just the large side, because we want the swab to be dry as it goes through the exposed wood, as to not expose any moisture to the wood and cause rot. So give that a little bit of a wiggle, turn upside down, and pull through. You only need to do this once on the boot joint because we don't want a moist swab going into the wood side to cause potential rot. So one swab through of this joint and you're good to go. That goes straight back in the case. Grab your wing joint, flip it upside down, and do the same thing. We'll drop the swab in through the bottom and pull through. Now this joint is lined with rubber as well, so you can actually pull this through a couple times depending on how much you've actually practiced. And it's always best to go through the bottom of this, just because you have the potential of your swab getting caught down here on your whisper key and kind of pulling that pad off. Once you've done that, you're finished. You can close up and be done for the day. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you put your instrument together and apart along with me. Stay tuned for our next video where we're going to talk about proper bassoon posture. Thanks. Have a great day.